Hey, Andy. Good evening. Thanks for being here so late. Well, you'll get to see two endings then. Today we should also be, hopefully, proc an achievement through Steam as well. The Paladin one obviously couldn't get, so I'm waiting to see what happens when we get through to the end of this one to see if that happens. Yeah, it should be a good time. And I don't think we're probably going to take the full 3 hours today, especially since all we're doing is a smaller fight in the sewers. We're not doing the main fight in the courtyard. So... And we're gonna completely bypass the fight at the top of the Netherbrain. I'll show people how to quickly bypass that, just so they know how to do it, since I actually had the fight and killed everything in the Paladin livestream. It'll be good to take a look at it. Yeah, I still have, a bunch of playthroughs going right now. So keeping up with the honor mode playthrough and having my personal honor mode playthrough and then the tactician mode playthrough that kind of mirrors them all going at the same time there. But I have started playing a new game too, so kind of trying it out, seeing how well it goes and if it would be suitable for a live stream. Kind of prepping so that we'll kind of see what happens with these two series ending. Well, well, thank you. But the mistakes I've made have been big ones, as the Paladin playthrough illustrated. I mean, honestly, it's just, I mean, a big part of it, to be truthful, is one, that it's balanced mode. It's easy to help gloss over mistakes in balanced mode. Balanced mode is honestly really too easy for me to be playing on this with as many hours as I have in the game. But again, I'm not trying to kill myself on a couple of these playthroughs, and both of them started way back before honor mode was a thing, and that sort of stuff. But another big part of it comes down to knowing or having experience with the 5e rule set. So knowing how actions, bonus actions work, because action economy is a key thing in this game. And to be truthful, I'm sure action economy is very, very important in the Divinity Original Sin games as well. I know they're action point based as opposed to D&D action and bonus action based, but I'm in every type of turn-based RPG or turn-based game in general. Action economy is huge, and knowing how to take advantage of that action economy is going to help you, again, gloss over mistakes that you make. I do make my fair share of them, and I tend to let you guys know when I make them. But it's easy to recover from on balance mode. It's not nearly as easy to recover from in honor mode and that sort of stuff. So that's why I'm having to take things a little slower in honor mode, especially as we get into Act 3. Act 2 still honestly isn't that big a deal until I get to the ending of Act 2 with Moonrise and Ketheric and Merkel and that sort of stuff. But up until that point, it's fairly straightforward as a bard, so that's the hardest part, is keeping my playthroughs apart. And I rely on you guys to help me sometimes. There are times when I get confused as to what I've done and haven't done in a particular playthrough. So yeah, I rely on chat to help me out. I think you're really gonna like it. I know people were very impressed with it, seeing it in the Paladin playthrough, and we're taking the relatively good options this time. So good as in not evil options, so I think you're gonna like it. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode number 61. And our final episode, I might add, of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on admin notes, a huge dump that we expected, and we've been waiting on for some time from Larian. Dropped in a community update yesterday, and that's community update 29, and it's all about mods. It goes extremely in-depth about mods, but before we kind of talk about a couple of the highlights of it, the community, as I've said multiple times, the modding community is impressive. As much so as you saw crazy creative mods in games like Skyrim and that sort of stuff, you're now seeing it here with Larian in this game as well. There are over 1,000 mods that have been uploaded to the mod server for download, and there have been over 15 million mod downloads for the game. That it speaks volumes about how invested the community is in modding the game, and then how invested the players are in the game still to this day, like I am, even, you know, more than a year after the game released. It's been really, really impressive to see. But for some of the highlights, the first and most important thing probably is that Mac and console players, you now have all of the updates, and you have, that includes patch 7 as well as hotfixes 26 and 27. So you have all of the mod support. Cross saves are now back. Cross play is back, so it's going to prompt you to download mods that are, if you're on different platforms, or if your save files you want to bring people in, then it will prompt them to download the save files so that they can join your game. So I'm very, very happy to see that Mac and console players are getting it. Now, not all mods that are uploaded are compatible with all three platforms, PC, console, and Mac. So you're going to have some mods that you're not going to be able to do. And thanks, Martian. I appreciate the comment, and thank you for popping in. I certainly appreciate it. I hope at some point maybe you'll check out some of the content, but if you don't, again, thank you very much for just popping in and giving me a comment. I certainly appreciate you just being here, so thank you very much. So, as the limitation said, that not all mods are going to be available for all three platforms, so there may be some cross-platform incompatibilities with somebody with a save trying to bring somebody in from a different platform, and that mod's not available there. Hopefully the mod authors will be adding more of those compatibilities into their mods as they go, but kind of see. They gave you a brief tutorial on how to navigate through the mod manager and that sort of stuff. And then one thing I was actually really impressed by is that they gave a list of mods to quote-unquote get you started. And it kind of showcases some of the modding community and what they've done, how they've done it, and that sort of stuff. And they're showcasing some things like, which I fully expected them to do, the party limit mod, where you're able to adjust anywhere from 4 players all the way up to 16 players in your party. They're highlighting that. There's some UI improvements. There's a lot of graphical improvements as far as faces, hairstyles, clothing, all of that sort of stuff in the game. But there's one also that, and of course the better inventory mod. You expected that. Larian has talked about their inventory system and how hard it is to organize stuff in the past, and them highlighting that was a no-brainer, so to speak. But one thing they've also highlighted is the unlocking of the level cap So there is a mod out there, and it's been there for a bit, where you can continue your experience leveling past level 12 up through level 20. And I'll have to take a look at it. The mod itself, again, just like any mod, is going to be great. People have been asking for this for a long time. However, it can't be based around new spells and that sort of stuff. I seriously doubt that somebody's taken the time to engineer new spells that go along with those levels. I could be seriously wrong. I'm going to go take a look at it and see. So I'm not trying to say anything bad about the mod author Dustbag or his mod, since I haven't actually looked at it. But that would be an immense amount of work. And if they've done it, more power to you. You have gone well beyond expectations if you've done it. I expect it's going to be more about possibly some class features and buffs and abilities that they can get, such as different auras for paladins, that sort of stuff that I would expect are fairly straightforward to do. And then spell slots, obviously, increasing the number of spell slots. However, I will be really surprised if they actually added new spells into the game and that sort of stuff. The martial abilities seem fairly straightforward to be able to modify and add to. However, the higher level spells get to a point where it's, one, hard to code because there's so much player input on them, and so much creativity that goes into the application of them, that I'm not entirely sure that any one mod author would be able to go that in depth into it. There are certain spells, you know, straight damaging spells and things like that that might be added in, but I'm going to take a look at it and kind of see what it is at some point. But not before I finish my honor mode playthrough. I'm still working on 11 advancements. Hopefully there will only be 9 after today. Achievements, I mean, in my game. But we'll kind of take a look at mods at some point and make sure that we're kind of up to date on those after we finish these playthroughs. So I think that's it. Oh, yeah, I guess the obvious admin note. Today is the last episode of the Bard livestream. And as such, I've mentioned before, I'm going to be taking a break from these other 2 live streams. The Honor Mode live stream is going to continue on uninterrupted, but there's going to be a break here. I'm going to take a little time for myself during the NFL football season here in America, to spend some time with my friends on the weekends and that sort of stuff, but also take some time to play additional games in the downtime and see if I can find something suitable for live streams. We're also kind of waiting for Dragon Age Veilguard to come out, which is still scheduled for the end of October, and see if that is going to be suitable for a live stream as well. I have started playthroughs on an additional game right now. I really enjoy it. It's fairly familiar to me, but I think it would make a good live stream candidate as well. It would be another long-term one because that game has a sequel as well, that I think would be very, very suitable for a live stream. But I'm kind of doing some research, taking some notes, seeing what we're going to do for those additional live streams. Once this one's over later this week, probably this weekend, look for a community post, and I'll give you all the opportunity to give input on what live stream you'd like to see next, just as we did when the Starfield live stream came to an end. We'll do the same thing here, and I'd love to get y'all's input. So take a minute once you see it come up and give me your input. So I think that's it for admin notes. So on a recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had rescued Orpheus. Orpheus had become a mind flayer to help defeat the Netherbrain. The Emperor has rejoined the Netherbrain's grand design, so to speak, and we made our way up to the High Hall, and that's where we're going to jump in here today. Okay, here we go. So at the end of the last live stream, we saw conversations and interactions with everybody in here. We have gathered a lot of allies throughout this playthrough. We have done good work in bringing all of them together. And this room is now filled to overflowing with our allies that we can now call forth during these final fights. Some of them, if they die, you cannot bring them back. Others, if they, once you use them, you can resummon them again. Some of them you can only use once, and you can kind of see some of them. But this kind of is the culmination of gathering our allies. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking to everybody here. We certainly could, but it would take a very long time for us to go through everything, everybody in here. But all of these allies are available to us, and we can use them here as we're kind of fighting our way through the courtyard. Now, we are not actually going to go through the courtyard today, and this time. We went through the courtyard last time. The courtyard is up here, and there's a huge fight with a huge number of enemies waiting for you in there, and that's where your allies really come into play, is in there. We're not actually going to take that way today. We're going to kind of show the alternate way through the sewers, and that's where we're going to head out of and go today. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we are not getting in trouble or getting ambushed when we don't expect to. So for that, I'm going to split Kurz off. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to split Lae'zel off.
Eager for battle.
And that reminds me, the Githyanki Warrior and the Wizard of Waterdeep, as I've talked about before, these two quests are our last two quests other than the main one. You can see they're the only ones left, and these two will get completed during or at the end of the game. So those two quests stick with you throughout all of this. And we're going to take Lae'zel up here.
Undetected.
I'm going to go into hiding.
Not one false move.
And make my way up here to the top. And you can see the detection cones now starting to fill out a little bit. Because there is a winged horror up here at the top, and I want to make sure that we don't have any interruptions here, so to speak. Okay, by just finishing him off. Just so that we don't get seen by anything and have him unexpectedly jump down here while we're trying to maneuver around and that sort of stuff. There is a heavy chest up here, but again, at this point, I'm not interested in picking up any items. I have everything that I need at this point.
Proceeding.
So we'll just make our way back down here. And we'll group everybody up.
All right.
Now, I want to have Mark of the Shifter on. And where's the ring? Oh geez, did I leave the ring? boy, it's always something. It's always something. So I left the ring of the shifter in my camp, and I can't go back and get it now. Yep. So, no buff for that. So I guess we'll go into this just with
Light on my feet.
my bard buff and see what happens here.
Dragons overhead. Stay low.
There's the shadow civilians evacuating. We're gonna make our way up here. We should get a conversation.
Fall back! Matthew! Leave him be! We have to keep running! Mind Flayer! Mind Flayer! It's over.
There's a glimmer of something beyond his words, but in a moment it's gone, consumed with fear.
One last run, then we're clear!
Okay, so again, failed the insight check, but did the same thing last time. It just means that you weren't given the option to convince them to help you. Now, again, this is the courtyard, and you can see that there's all sorts of enemies in here. We went through this fight with the paladin, and we killed everything in here. It's a big fight. Astarion helps tremendously, or the build that we had for Astarion. I think he killed 4. I think he killed the Adept, the Mistress of Souls, and the Reaper, or whatever it is over here as well. All 3 of them in his first turn, without even flinching. And there's a lot more enemies in here than what you just see. There's many more back here in this area. And it's a fight to get through. It's certainly something that we can do. We're going to illustrate another way to get past this fight, though. And then, depending upon how long it takes us to get through the alternate way, we might have this fight from behind, so to speak. We'll kind of take a look at it when we finish this up. I think we're going to have plenty of time to finish today, but I want to make sure that we do finish today, and that includes the epilogue. So the alternate way to get around is to go through the sewers, and that's over here. So what we're going to do is...
Action, not reaction.
Okay, so Lae'zel does have alert. She has Cloud Giant strength.
Light steps.
Okay, because there is an additional enemy over here to deal with. There's actually 2. And we're going to kind of watch the detection cone limit here. So up to here should be fine. And then as soon as he comes back and turns around, I'm going to follow him. Okay, so now I'm going to move up behind him. Start this fight off. Okay, we should generate a surprise round, which we did. The other winged horror is up here on top, and we're gonna let him come to us. Okay, come on. Okay, now we're gonna move here around the corner. He's gonna fly,
On the move.
and he's probably gonna be able to get an attack on us, if I had to guess, because of his elevated position and how far he's gonna be able to fly from there. So we'll see if I can hold up against an attack here. I've got a 21 armor class, so hopefully I can hold up and not get hit and not get stunned. Okay, well if he's gonna sit there and do that, then I'm going to fly. Can I reach? Can't. Let's fly here. Doesn't cost any movement, or barely any movement, to climb the ladder. Let's see if I can reach him. Can. Okay, and up this ladder here, we'll actually go into hiding so you can see it. You've got some patrolling enemies over on this side. You have a mirror image of that over on this side over here. So a mind flayer with a winged horror and some sort of cultist over here. But now you can kind of get a glimpse of what's around here. Mind flayers and intellect devourers. There are other varied enemies, especially down here. But this ladder is another way to basically flank the enemies, so to speak, in the courtyard. Okay, now we're not going to go that way. We're going to head back down this ladder because there's another way we can go.
Unheard, unseen.
And that way is down here. Okay, we have another room here, another way to go over here. So let's bring everybody over.
Don't waste a step.
Now I'm going to leave my bard here because Kurz does not have fly. Remember, Kurz does not have access to tadpoles.
Yes.
Kurz can only jump.
At the ready.
And as such, we don't want him taking any damage. When he jumps over here, so my
things are
bard
staying
is going to
interesting.
cast Feather.
Have a lot on my mind. Well, in it. Should mind my step.
And now I can fly down. And the Emperor should follow me. There we go.
Very well.
So now, a couple of other things to recognize. In addition to call forth our allies, some allies are not able to be called into physical combat with enemies, but as such they are still helping us out, and we have a long list of buffs here that go along with that. So Weave Walker is freedom of movement, okay? everybody in your party gets it, and that's because we helped out Arabella. Everybody's rallied, so we all have 30 temporary hit points. That comes from Duke Ravengard. Everybody is able to cast Rays of Fire, which is basically Scorching Ray at level 4. And everybody is able to do that, and you're able to do it once per short rest. And that comes from Mole. And we also, it reduces all fire damage by 5, which is incredibly important when you go up to the top and you're trying to fight the Red Dragon, and you're fighting against a couple of the enemies that use Scorching Ray. And you gain an additional 1d4 to charisma checks and saving throws, which at this point is fairly useless because I'm not going to have any more checks to make. But the saving throw part of it is nice because there is an enemy you could possibly get up there that is sorcerer based, and then you're making charisma saving throws. We all have +2 to attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks because of Volo. And we all have +1 to all of our ability scores and an additional 2 meters of movement speed. And this is because of Thaniel. So looking now, we should have a whole bunch of odd numbers because we got a +1 to everything. But where that's really nice is that on the few characters where we might have had an odd one, like Dex and Constitution being upped, we now gain extra hit points and extra initiative rolls.
Still breathing, despite
Hers, I think, was all even. Gale was all even as well, but yeah, Lae'zel was now able to gain some bonuses here because of that additional +1.
Never a dull
So
moment.
now we're going to head in through the metal door here, and we're going to break the group.
Ready for anything.
Going with Lae'zel first, and you can see what happens. If you go in with multiple characters, you are going to instantly be brought into combat because one of them will inevitably overlap this detection cone. If you go in one at a time, though, you can enter into combat here without being detected. And that's what we're going to do. Now, we have some cranium rats who are hostile towards us as well. But Lae'zel has alert, so she should roll fairly high in initiative here if she doesn't get a surprise round. If she gets a surprise round, then we can bring everybody in freely. Even if they overlap the detection cone and get brought into combat, we have a free turn, basically, to be able to maneuver them around and take out everything down here. So let's go ahead and start this off. Okay, so he's dead. We did not get a surprise round, but we rolled first in initiative. Okay, so Confused kicked in. So they're going to get their turn here. And I'm probably just going to fight this myself before I bring everybody else in. I could use Cleave here, but I think I'm going to wait. Okay, so now I can bring everybody else in. And now you see what I mean about overlapping the detection cones? That would have brought everybody into the fight there if I had done that. So, again, you can certainly loot what's down here. There's not a whole lot that you can have benefit to. Now there's a door here, which I don't think we have the key for. Yeah. Can't remember the DC, so I'm just going to go ahead and put all of the lockpicking stuff on. Oh, lockpicking's impossible. I forgot about this one. Okay. So it's got the sturdy trait. So you have to deal an attack that does at least 10 damage. That's not a problem for us.
You nothing.
Now,
Objective
what are
noted.
its resistances? I didn't look. So yeah, it's vulnerable to bludgeoning damage, but it's not resistant to slashing damage, so.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, now in here you have some fairly interesting things. There's a traveler's chest here that you can look at. Potions of angelic reprieve to get your spell slots back are always nice, especially here where you're trying to minimize your usage of your
Must be on my
action
way.
economy.
Keep to the shadows for as long as we can.
And some other things that you can search around here. Okay, I don't think you can even... Oh, yeah, you can. There's a marker down here. A quest marker down here. But I think there's supposed to be some sort of entrance here, but I think the quest marker is just misplaced. I can't find anything down here to be able to click on or anything like that. Maybe it's a polymorph entrance where you have to be shape changed or something to get in this way from the outside. But for us, we didn't need it. We were able to come in from the other way. So I'm going to leave everybody back here. Put everybody into hiding. I don't know what that detection cone is from.
Ready for anything.
An efficient path.
The gate's actually gone. It's just it's not showing it. But yeah, there's a detection cone here. It's like it's from a dead cranium rat or something. It's weird. I don't know what it is. Again, I think there's a couple things that are maybe a little bugged out there. Now here, what we're gonna do, actually there's a green dot, an invisible helper. I have no idea what that is. It's right here. I can move through it, so it's not material. Not entirely sure what it is.
Unseen.
But we're gonna go up here and open this door, and I'm gonna kind of step off to the
Curious.
side after. Actually, I'm gonna go turn off the brazier first. Okay. Now you can't get through here just without a fight. Okay, you're gonna have to have a fight of some sort. The sewers is just a much smaller fight than the fight that you're gonna have up in the courtyard, but it is still quite challenging, and that's because there are some special enemies down here which you can't see right now. Now, right now the enemies, a goblin boss, a zealot, a paladin, we've seen them before. There's an adept over here and what looks like another goblin here, but the really difficult enemies are back here, and there's another, yeah, there's some necromites back here, but there's also another mind flayer and something else back here, which we're going to take a look at. Now, the thing about this room is that right now the enemies aren't moving.
Lights.
As soon as you enter this room, though, the enemies are going to start moving around. See? So... Okay. Oh, he must have come around the corner and seen me. And that's what I kind of meant about I should have moved off to the side probably a little bit to go through this. But either way, we're going to fight here in this choke point. We have a really big choke point here, and that's going to minimize the amount of enemies that can get to us. So we're going to fight right here. And to do that, yeah, we can see in magical darkness with everybody. So what we're going to do first is try and knock out this detection cone, I think. So how much is that going to take of my movement? A third? That's perfectly fine. Let's try and knock out the goblin boss here. Perfect. And now we're going to move back into the into this walkway here. But what that does is it removes the detection cone that was all the way down here. So now we can bring everybody else up into the doorway. Now you can see if you look up here, there's the Mind Flayer I was talking about. There's an Illithid Arcanist up here. They love to cast a high-level magic missile. So fighting in darkness, which prevents them from doing that, is very, very useful. There's a Black Gauntlet of Bane who has the Fear aura. We are not immune to fear here at this time. We're going to be correcting that here in a little bit. And then we have a Death Knight. Now, we saw some of these kind of waiting at the entrance to Sarevok's chambers, but we didn't get to fight them. They died when Sarevok died. Well, now we get to fight one, and he's not nice. He's got a really high armor class, so he's hard to hit. He's got improved extra attack. He's got parry, so the first attack that hits him, he can use a superiority die to reduce the damage by 1d80 is what it says. I think that's actually 1d8, and it's just a misprint. But I don't know. We'll find out. But he does have Revenant's Ire as well. So the entity, when he attacks, he deals an additional 4d8 necrotic damage, which is nasty. And he has the Riposte. He's a Battle Master fighter. So he can spend a superiority die to attack anybody who misses him. And since he's got such a high armor class, it's possible that you miss him quite a bit. So he does have a limited number of superiority dice, just like Lae'zel does, but it's 5. So he can do these things 5 times, just like with parry. So you try and use up his superiority dice, and then he becomes a regular high armor class fighter at that point. But one thing he can't do, he can't see in magical darkness. So we're going to have advantage on attacks against him, and he's going to have disadvantage on those attack rolls. So right now, looking at our armor classes, though, Lae'zel's actually one of the lowest at 21. We want Kurz and my Bard up here in front, so to speak. But we don't want Lae'zel to not be able to attack. So what I'm going to do is kind of position everybody right along here. So I'm going to move Lae'zel kind of here.
Make way.
And now I'm going to slowly bring everybody else up. Hers is going to be right in the middle.
Should mind my step.
Because with Sentinel, I want him to be able to launch a retaliatory attack if somebody goes and attacks Lae'zel or my Bard. Either one. I'm going to kind of put him in the middle here. And then my Bard. The Emperor's in hiding. So my Bard is going to come up here and take the third spot at the door.
Have to keep going.
Right here.
Wizard, not a
And
coward.
then Gale
Most excellent.
can take his spot back here. And we're going to have Gale cast Darkness up here. So now Kurz and our bards still have not entered into combat yet, and they're not going to have much of an ability to hit anything at this particular time. But what I want to do is get rid of this door. Okay, this door is going to be annoying because it's not going to let me attack anything this way. So I want to try and get rid of it. Okay, perfect. And now I'll be able to see out this way. As far as my bard, I'm not too worried. Oh, I actually can get... Oh no, pass interrupted. Maybe I can shoot his foot or his knee. Nope. So yeah, wasn't expecting a whole lot there, but what I can do with my bard is cast a Hunger of Hadar out here in front. Okay, and then I'm going to move my bard right back up here. Okay. So for the rest of my bard's turn, I don't think there's anything, that I'll be able to get over here. But it allows me again to attack this way, and my character's on the right to be able to attack this way. And Kurz can attack either way, which is kind of what we're interested in. So here's the Illithid Arcanist down here. And here's the Black Gauntlet. And you will see the Death Knight here very shortly.
Time to strike.
Just move Lae'zel in here as close as I can. So, Kurz, I don't think there's anything that we want to do or can do here. Not worried about somebody casting a Guardian of Faith behind me. I will use some Sonic Backlashes, though. There's the Death Knight. Okay. So now let's see. Okay, so he's chilled as well. So we'll remember that, because what I want to do is as people get grouped up in here, I may cast Create Water here to freeze enemies that have the chilled condition. Okay, as far as we go here, there's nothing on the Mind Flayer that I want to use. I don't think. Most of the abilities here are kind of on short rest things. So the Mind Blast, I don't think will work. I don't think Mind Blast hits my own characters. but I don't want to take that chance, actually. Okay, I'm gonna wait on Fracture Psyche. Well, we have a fairly high one here as well. What's the range? Oh, it's 9 meters. Oh, he's blinded. He can't see there anyway. So yeah, I normally just keep him out of the fight for the most part. He's got one goal during all of this, and it doesn't have much to do with this part right now. So actually, Lae'zel is probably a bit too far to the right. She's not able to use ranged attacks through here, which is, again, a mistake on my part.
Where do I go from here?
My Bard can, though. And I do have Repelling Blast. So let's just keep people away from us. Okay, so I will take that opportunity attack. I'm not going to... Actually, I will Divine Smite that, because that'll just remove him from the battlefield entirely. And that removes the Zealot. Okay, Gale's probably not going to be able to see anybody out here. I'm really waiting for the Death Knight to get in here, is what I'm really waiting on. Because most of these enemies here are not going to move into the Hunger on their own. The Wargs might. Okay, so I am going to counterspell this. Because the Death Knight does like to come into the Hunger. The Necromites will also come into the Hunger. Okay, so let's see if we can start dealing damage to the Death Knight. Now, Lae'zel probably isn't going to be able to. Yeah, she's kind of stuck here in this limbo spot until somebody moves in for melee damage.
I won't give in.
We're probably going to have another counter spell coming up here in a second. It's too far. Maybe Gale can move over here to the right a little bit. Okay, so he did not get chilled, which is unfortunate. So we're probably going to have another counter spell that we need to do. Oh, nope, she just dashed in. That means she's dead. He's going to dash and try and make his way in here as well. It's the first time I've seen him end up there. Okay, so again, the Mind Flayer not worried about. So, Lae'zel, nothing to do. Again, pass interrupted.
Well,
And my
so much for
bard
peace.
just keep knocking people back. One hit point left. Oh, Death Word kicked in. Okay, I thought the wargs could possibly come into the hunger. Can you see him? No. Okay. And there won't be anything for Gale to hit, I'm pretty sure, but we'll move over to this side. Yeah. Nope. Oh. Nope. Okay. So I'm not going to waste any spell slots. I'm going to save all my action economy for later on. Now the Necromites will wander into the hunger, and they will die when they do it.
No choice but to keep going.
Why is path interrupted? Weird. Okay. Something's being very strange about this doorway this time. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Hunger of Hadar and Repelling Blast are kind of an OP combination. What I will do here in a bit is drop the Hunger of Hadar to bring in the others if they don't maneuver in here. They still have the darkness.
Survival is all that matters.
Yeah, pass interrupted there. It's being, that doorway is being very, very weird. This time. It wasn't that weird in my personal playthrough, so. Okay, so we're going to drop the Hunger of Hadar here and let them come to us into the darkness.
Still on my feet.
Okay. Gale, I don't think he's going to be able to hit anything from there. Maybe if he moves all the way over here. Yep. And that ends that. Okay, he's gonna dash around now. Black Gauntlet should move in here. Yep, still interrupted.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
Yeah, that doorway, like I say, is just doing some rather weird things here. It's like part of it is still there. See, I can target it. No biggie.
Wasn't as ever easy.
Okay. So now the Death Knight should come in here and try and lay an attack on somebody. The goblins probably aren't going to move up. I'm going to try and get another... Can I chill him? Saved. So here he comes. Oh, he's dashing. He's not going to want to come into the darkness. Interesting. Things are playing out a little differently with the AI and the interactions here than in my testing. I'm not too worried about it. But again, it's just a little odd. Oh, come on. You've got to be just outside the limits there. That's a little crazy. Look how close that thing is. And I can't move. Well, maybe I can. Yeah, I can. That's a shame.
Come on. Can't stay idle.
Let's go.
Oh, good. The goblin's gonna come make their way over here. See where the Death Knight moves? Okay, he didn't want you to move into the corner. And this Necromite's stuck. So I may have to go draw them out.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Which I didn't really want to do, but I think I'll do it next turn. See if the goblin moves any closer. It's not going to. So we're going to move out with our bard. He's going to sit there in the corner. Okay, so we're going to fly out here. And now we're gonna wait out here for everybody else to come to us.
I will ascend.
Blood comes easy these days. Death is but a word away.
Let's see where everybody moves. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. Oh, we can't. It's level 6. So where did he cast it? He's not able to target me with that directly. It's level 6. I'm not going to be able to counterspell it. There's going to be a roll here involved with this. That's weird. He shouldn't have been able to cast it there. I don't know how he was able to do that. You can't, that's a targeted spell, you can't cast it into darkness. So again, not entirely sure how he was able to do that to begin with. I don't want to risk Orpheus. So 115 hit points. It's weird, I didn't take any damage from it. I think the game just wigged out. Yeah, because see, I didn't take any damage from that. I think the game just kind of wigged out there. I think it realized after it cast it that it wasn't supposed to be able to cast it. And the Orpheus took some damage, but nobody else did. And I know the fire damage by 5 didn't reduce that enough, because that thing does like 6 to 100 or 6 to 120 damage or something. So fairly strange. Okay, so that's gonna make him easier to hit for the next one, so...
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Because I prefer not to have him use riposte. That's what I don't want to have happen.
Time to strike.
The witching hour.
Boy, they're just making their saving throws like nobody's business.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
So, how far down there can I fly? Can I fly? Okay, I can make it all the way down there. So, let's kind of maneuver here. There's a whole bunch of advantage attacks that missed there.
I am fury. I am death. This is your end.
Okay. Oh. It lands, and it did. Okay, now we'll just wait for this necromite to run up here.
They burn.
That's gonna bring somebody back. So what is it? That's a cantrip. before I do that. Okay, so yeah, nothing, no retaliatory or auras I have to deal with. Just walk up, slap him. Alright.
Moving in.
So, now as always, some searching that you can do. There is another potion of angelic slumber. This is for gaining the benefits of a long rest, which again is very, very nice. Nothing else is really overly worthwhile, so to speak. Next, we're going to come over here and search this corpse because there's a key. And this is the key to the High Hall. You're going to need this for traversing some doors here in a little bit. Okay, now this door is going to take us back up to the courtyard, but it's going to take us to a back area of the courtyard. Before I do that, I want to make sure that Orpheus is completely healed up. Use my smallest healing potions here. Okay. Oh, interesting. You can see he's got a couple of items in his inventory. I wish I could see what those were.
What to do?
Okay, so before I go in here, I'm going to go into hiding. Okay, and this puts you inside this room. There's a button over here, which is going to open this.
Here goes nothing.
And you can see that outside the door, there are some detection cones. And that's because you can now see where we are. We're at the back of the courtyard. Okay, so all the enemies are mainly up here in front of us, with the exception of this group of patrolling enemies. This is the room that we're in, right here. Okay, and our way out is here. So we can make our way, you can go out the door here. The High Hall key will get you out here. And then you just have to fight this group of patrolling enemies, but you don't have to fight them at all. What you can do is just kind of watch where they're going. They should turn to the right. Yep. They're going to move over here, then they're going to turn around. And I believe they head back this way. But I could be wrong. They might turn and just head right back down here. Yeah, I thought that's what they did. So you can kind of watch where their detection cones go, and you're watching this. You can see they overlap this area here quite a bit. Okay? But then when they turn around, you are free and clear to make your way here and down this way into this room. Okay? Now, when you get into this room, something else is going to trigger, and a new phase of things is going to start when you do it. So it's kind of Just something to be aware of. What I'm going to do is look at my... Don't know if I can see it in here. Oh, I can. Okay, so Kurz has 17 movement speed, but he cannot fly. I need somebody who can fly. So I'm going to go in with my Bard. My Bard also has Alert, which is good. The problem is the Emperor. Because I can't separate the Emperor, or Orpheus, I mean, from me. That's kind of a pain. I guess I can take Lae'zel. She's got Alert. Her movement speed's 14, so it's not as much. But I think that's my next best option for this. So what I'm going to do is break my group, and I'm going to bring Lae'zel over here. And before I go in there, I'm going to drop a quick save. And I'm going to wait for them to come up, turn right, come back, go in here, and then turn around. I want them to be nowhere near this when I start it off. Okay, so now they're turning around. I'm going to move Lae'zel up to here. I'm going to wait for them to clear a little bit. They are. Now I'm going to fly into here. And I'm probably going to get a cutscene.
Look there, the Netherbrain stem. Need to get close.
Okay, so I'm not. I am not going to bring anybody else in here yet. I'm going to do this with Lae'zel by herself. Hopefully, I can get this to work. I don't think I'm going to have much of an issue. I've got a boatload of potions of speed to fall back on, so I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Okay, it's not going to start this. Is it going to start it when I walk up here?
Into the shadows.
Okay, yeah. So we'll do this instead. We'll go start the fight here with this Intellect Devourer. What I thought.
The Nautiloid's attacking. Avoid its fire.
Okay. So I was doing this a little bit out of order of what it expected. So the cutscene was a little broken, but a Nautiloid came in. Okay, it's level 16, 10,000 hit points. You can't attack it even if you wanted to. But the Nautiloid does two things to everybody who's in this area. Okay, the first thing it does is these outlines. These are airstrikes, and they hurt. They hurt really bad. I don't know if they have it in here. They don't. That's some funny stats. Yeah, it's actually got stats here for some reason. It's immune to all damage. You can't target it anyway. but it does airstrikes. So on its turn, it's going to obliterate everything in these areas. And you can see them. You can see where the areas are. And it's a lot of damage. You do not want to get caught in them. The second thing it will do is this purple area. It's going to summon reinforcements here. And it's going to summon a Mind Flayer and something else. It could be 2 Mind Flayers and an Intellect Devourer. It could be a Mind Flayer and a couple of Intellect Gluttons. But it's going to summon a couple of things. Okay? On its turn, so the same turn it blows everything up, it's going to do that. So what we're going to do here is just move as much as we can. Okay, so I'm going to move up to the door. I'm going to open it because I have the key. Okay, and now I'm going to Misty Step. I think. Yeah. Okay, I don't have to use much movement to get there. Okay, and now let's see here. I'm going to fly as far as I can. Okay. We'll see what spells we get off here. Hopefully I don't get stunning gazed or anything like that. Okay, slow, I'm not too worried about. I wish I didn't have it, but... Okay, so just dashed. She can reach me though, that's not good. Okay, so we summoned a Mind Flayer and a couple of Intellect Gluttons. Oh, that was bad.
Can't stem this tide of enemies. We must get to the brain.
I'm going to have to go into the fight. Because she got stunned.
Hope this ends well.
I have to get into this fight. Because otherwise the Mind Flayer can just continually stun me over and over and over again. I've got advantage on that saving throw too. This is gonna hurt. Hurt them more than it hurt me. See, for some reason I'm just not passing that saving throw. I've got advantage on it because of the necklace, the Aberration Hunter's necklace, but I just can't seem to pass it. Yeah, rolled a 2. So So just can't seem to pass the saving throw on it. So that was just unfortunate. So for me here, I need to get as much movement as I can. I'm going to use my action to dash. I'm going to use my bonus action to drink a potion of speed. See if this is enough. It is. Okay, so all you have to do is make it into the room here to trigger a cutscene, and when you trigger that cutscene, all the enemies that are out here die. Okay, so that's the goal, is just to avoid all the fighting and just make your way up here. And as soon as you get here, like I say, all the combat is done. Now I'm gonna have to make my way in here. With the rest of my party. What will normally happen is if all your party's in this room, it will teleport them all up there to the top where you are. But what you're doing is they're always going to be targeting you down here with airstrikes. So even if you're trying to run one person all the way up there, you're going to have to be dodging airstrikes down here, and the reinforcements will sometimes trigger down here as well, and then you have to fight them off. It's just easier not to worry about any of it, just to take one character up and then manually move everybody else up there afterward. Just takes a little bit longer is all. And you can wait a little bit and these fire surfaces go away. It just takes a while. This way. And you still have to be careful of the wandering patrols out here, because the courtyard has not been cleared. fly is always very useful for navigating treacherous surfaces. Hers doesn't have fly, so he's just gonna have to jump across everything, which is fine.
Best be on my way.
Kurs can jump across here. I don't care about the hit point loss.
Breathe deep and move.
Now, once I'm in here, I can group everybody up, and there's a restoration pod here, and this is going to act as if you got a long rest for replacing all of your spell slots and that sort of stuff, but it's not going to remove any buffs that you have.
I'll give it a shot.
It gets all of the hit points back that we lost.
One day I'll catch a break.
So now again here, one last check through everything. Yeah, I have advantage on intelligence saving throws on all of that. I just couldn't save a single one to save my life. Okay. So okay. So I think we are good here for this. So with Gale in our party here, we're going to get a cutscene here concerning the interactions with the orb, and that's why I'm going to drop a quick save here. Actually, I'm going to drop a full save here, because if we have time, we can go through a couple of the alternate endings for this. If we have time, we are halfway through. The next fight is not really a fight, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. And then the Netherbrain fight is going to be a fight. We don't have enough explosives to end the fight, cheesy, but we have enough explosives to cause a bunch of damage. So we'll kind of go into this here and see how it goes. But if we have enough time, we will explore a couple of alternate endings. And one of them is here.
Brain, it's high above the city now, far away from any innocents. I can end this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mistress bidding and the redemption that lies beyond.
You brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. But this is a fate I must face alone.
Okay, now because of the decisions that we have made here, Gale is set upon using the Netherese Orb to destroy the Netherbrain. In the Paladin playthrough, because of the choices we have made, he was not going to do that. He was going to try and take the Crown of Karsus for himself. So we're going to try and not have him do this.
I'm sure such an outcome is possible, but why risk it? If we ascend there and try to fight the good fight, well, there are no guarantees. But this way, we'll know the matter is done, and we'll know exactly what it shall cost. Me. And me alone. It's now or never.
Okay. So now's our option. You can let him do it.
Always another way, yes. But not necessarily a better way. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead. If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But I only made it this far thanks to you. Who am I to question such sterling guidance now? Mistra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on, then. Shall stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
If Gale's not in your party, you will not have any of those interactions.
The crown of Karsus, the site of power, the site of domination.
We need to use the nether stones on the crown. That is our fated path.
Figure from my dreams.
I know you. I know everything about you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your weaknesses. And so do they.
The crown, up ahead. Time to cast the spell again and break its will.
Okay. So the benefit here of this part of it is that all of your characters roll first. There's no initiative here. The initiative order is set. So your characters are all at the start. Then the enemy characters pretty much in order of the various Dream Guardians, the Emperor, the Illithid Arcanist, and the Red Dragon, and then the Netherbrain at the end. So how this is kind of laid out is the Emperor's here, and he said he was going to rejoin the Netherbrain, so to speak, and he is. So you now have to fight him. the Dream Guardians are here if the Emperor is with you and you have not chosen to free Orpheus, then the Dream Guardians won't be here. These will be much more difficult versions of things conjured up by the Netherbrain, and they're meant to specifically counter some of your classes. So if you're multi-classed, like we are, there's a bunch of different options on what they can be. But you may have one that is an anti-cleric, and they're a cleric themselves, but they use like necrotic spirit guardians and that sort of stuff. You may have an anti-sorcerer or anti-wizard, an anti-paladin who is a paladin themselves, and can use all the same fight or skills like Divine Smite that you can. These Dream Guardians are a lot easier, okay? Now they do have the charm ability, which means that if you attack them, they can attempt to charm you, which prevents you from attacking them again on that turn, but you can go attack other people. But still, they do not have a lot of special abilities that the other substitutes would. But in place of that, you now have to fight the Emperor as well. Now, there's a red dragon here in the middle. Okay, there's actually an achievement for killing the red dragon here. As we saw in the Paladin playthrough, Astarion took 390 hit points off the dominated red dragon in one turn. And he even missed one of his attacks. So he would have been able to kill the dominated red dragon outright by himself. Without Astarion here and without that build, and with me sacrificing the whole Aura of Murder aura and not bringing Astarion along, it's a much more difficult fight here to have. Then you have the Illithid Arcanist. There are 2 of them with Fire Shield Warm and 2 of them with Fire Shield Chill. And so they're going to be doing damage. It's like Armor of Agathis. They're going to be doing cold damage or fire damage against anybody who attacks them with melee. Now, they love to cast Upcast Magic Missile at level 5, so it has 6 projectiles, and it hurts. So fighting in darkness here is a benefit simply to keep them from doing anything, because if you're in darkness, they just skip their turns. Now, that's not going to stop the others from coming in. However, nobody here can see in magical darkness. Okay? Not even the Emperor. Alright, so fighting in darkness is a viable strategy here. Now there's another group of enemies that are up here that you're not seeing right now. And hopefully we won't ever see them. So here's what we're going to do. If you want to get through this fight and you don't necessarily have a very powerful party, I'm not saying mine's not. We could definitely win this fight. But there's a way to make it significantly easier on you. Okay? And to do that, I'm actually concerned about Orpheus here. Okay, I just can't control him yet. But I will be able to once all 4 of these turns are taken. So
Let's go.
for here, what I'm going to do is take a potion of speed. Okay. And then, ooh, actually that was a mistake for me. But not one that's difficult to overcome. I'm going to cast invisibility here. Okay. And now I'm going to dash with my other action. Now you start seeing the other enemies that are present on this map. as you move through this area down here, you're going to trigger these tentacles. Yeah, and I'm going to move everybody up there. Now, not everybody is going to be able to make it that easy here. So, trying to think. Okay, then I'm going to dash with one of my actions.
Never a dull moment.
Okay, curs. Now again, curs does not have the fly ability here. But he can make it all the way down here.
Very well.
And nobody down here has sea invisibility.
The lance board is set. Okay, so that should be everybody up here with, except for the Emperor.
Nothing important is ever easy. Victory awaits.
Still on my feet.
And now I can control the Emperor. Okay, and again, I'm going to dash. Okay, and I'm going to put Orpheus right here. In front of the Crown of Karsus. Okay? My next turn is what's going to be somewhat critical. Alright? So before we end our turn here, you notice another thing. There's a 4-turn timer. Now this timer is not an end of game timer at all. This is a timer until a Nautiloid shows up, and we've learned what the Nautiloid does last time. So it's going to bring in airstrikes. It's going to bring in Illithid reinforcements. So things can get more difficult when you have that Nautiloid here, especially while you're trying to keep concentration on opening the portal here. And you'll see what I mean on the next turn. But for now, it's not really a a thing to worry about if you're trying to do it this way. You're normally going to have plenty of time before the Nautiloid shows up. All of them are going to go down here and start looking for your previous ghost locations. Now, I've never actually had them find all of my ghosts here, so I'm anxious to see what happens. I don't think it's going to do anything. I think they're all just going to keep moving down here. And looking, even though there's nothing here, but...
Witness perfection.
Okay, so the Emperor's actually moving back this way. Which is somewhat unfortunate. Okay, so now my turn. And a couple of things are going to happen here. So on the Emperor's turn, the Emperor is going to start concentrating on an ability to open a portal here at the Crown of Karsus. Now, that ability is going to open the portal on not this turn, but the next turn. So he has to survive all the way through this turn. Now, he's going last in our initiative order. And something like Darkness, if I cast it up here, and I cover him up with it, he is going to be blinded by that darkness. And he's not going to be able to cast the spell or the ability on the crown while he's blinded. Okay? So it kind of makes things a little difficult in the timing here. One thing I'm going to look for, and I might have messed this up. Okay, I didn't. So Gale has a scroll of Globe of Invulnerability. Okay, this is going to last for 3 turns. Now with that, you can see out of it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to have Gale cast that here. Now that's going to knock everybody out, or that's going to knock Gale out of invisibility. So I want to make sure that everybody is up here
What now?
first. And I kind of want to space people out a little bit. I kind of want Kurz down here.
At the ready.
Kind of want Lae'zel. I'm going to actually move people around a little bit here.
Time to push my luck again.
No choice but to keep going.
Blood comes easy these days.
I am fury. I am death.
Okay. The Emperor is right down here. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do here is cast the Globe of Invulnerability with Gale. And then I'm going to start launching attacks at the Emperor. I'm not going to use my Divine Smites and my main damaging stuff. I need to save some of that for the next encounter, but I do not want the Emperor to come up here and mind blast me and stun everybody in here. I won't take damage, but I can still have status effects from the stun, and I don't want that to happen. So let's get Gale to cast the Globe of Vulnerability here. And this is a much smaller radius than Darkness is, but it's more than enough. Okay. So now Gale, I'm also going to have him cast Sanctuary on the Emperor. Just to be, or on Orpheus, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep forgetting that. Just to be on the safe side. That's going to end his turn. Now with my turns, again, let's start throwing out some damage against the Emperor. And I don't care about invisibility anymore. So I guess let's see resistances. None. So he does have retaliation though of some sort, I think. Okay, so when he succeeds a saving throw, the foe that caused the throw needs to make an intelligence saving throw or be stunned for 1 turn. So I'm not too worried about that because there's no saving throw against Hex. Okay, now I don't want to... I don't think that's a saving throw, though. I think that's just a strength check. Well, we'll find out here. Okay, so yeah, it's not a saving throw, which is good. Let's actually throw in... Let's see if we can... Now, if I do that, that's a saving throw. So I'd prefer not to do that. They have disadvantage on that saving throw, so the chances are that he's not going to pass it, but I don't want to take the chance. But what I can do is drag over some arrows. Do I have any arrows of aberration slaying? I do. I'm going to save that action surge.
Time to push my luck again.
Oh, come on. Need to move like a foot or something here. That's getting dangerously close to getting outside the globe, so... There we go.
Done.
I'm going to save that. I should have thrown Hex on that, and I didn't. That was a mistake on my part. So I didn't kill him. Really want to kill him. Let's use my bonus action. To take a potion of speed. I'm gonna have to roll high on these. Outstanding. Okay, so that helps a lot. So now let's see what happens with the Illithid Arcanus up here. Because now we're going to start Arceus's compulsion. So it says it ends if the caster is incapacitated, stunned, polymorphed, or knocked out. So this is why you have to kind of be careful about how this is working. That's why I cast Sanctuary on him, so that he can't be targeted by enemies during this turn. Okay, he's inside the globe, so he's not going to get hit by AoE effects. Hopefully. That's an interesting thing because they can still cast... I won't take any damage from it, so it won't interrupt me. Hopefully I'll be alright with this. But either way, I need to start it. Okay, now he's not going to be able to do anything until that portal opens. All of these four are way out of position. It's the Illithid Arcanus that I'm actually worried about. If they can cast Mind Blast through the barrier and stun me, that's going to be a problem. They can teleport across the map with that thing. Okay, so they can. I'm saving against all of them. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, he moved in and cast it and stunned my barn. And they're going to do it again. Okay, he missed Orpheus. Good. Now this is going to be interesting. Okay, so my bard is stunned. Here. We're going to get everybody else. We're going to have to weather one more turn of this. So I'm going to try and move out here and kill off as many of the Arcanus as I can. Because that stun is just a problem. I may be able to mitigate it another way, though, come to think of it. I can actually do that instead.
Come on, can't stay.
Hers can cast darkness here now. And the Illithid Arcanus do not want to move into darkness. That blinds the Emperor, or I mean Orpheus, but that doesn't stop the compulsion from happening. Okay, it only keeps you from casting it if he's blinded, which he's blinded, but it doesn't interrupt it. You can see it's still happening. So with that, I'm just going to stand here in the darkness and What I am going to do, though, is that everybody's got haste running, so I'm going to refresh all of those. Because I have about 1,000 speed potions, remember?
Fury, I am death.
Okay, now done.
It's getting dark. Can't hold on.
It's got 1 turn remaining. It's weird. She's got freedom of movement too. Oh, it snaps an enemy out of, or an ally out of stun, but it doesn't keep you from getting stunned. Technicality there, I think. But it is what it is. Okay, so there's the portal that's opened.
The brain is weakened. This is our chance.
Even bound, its will is stronger than anything you've ever felt. The chains shake, threatening to break at any moment.
It's vulnerable, but not defeated. Use the portal. We will bring it down together.
Okay, and then you are teleported
Almost defeated.
into an area here. Now, this is a physical representation of the will of the Netherbrain. The Netherbrain is obviously, it's much bigger than us. We were standing on top of it during that last encounter. This is just a physical manifestation of its will. Something that is going to give us something to attack, so to speak. Now, 300 hit points, but it has the Chain of Karsus. So this was what was being cast by Orpheus. So it's bound the brain's will in place temporarily for us to strike it down. Okay, so that's all it's done. Now, the brain has psionic retribution. So the Netherbrain permits no interference. As a reaction to taking damage, it releases brain quakes. And the brain quakes, upon taking damage, emit a wave of psionic force that mind breaks nearby enemies. Okay? And then for 1 turn, you are slowed. Now, slowed means that your movement speed's cut in half, your armor class and dexterity saving throws are reduced by 2, but the more important thing is that you can't make more than 1 attack per turn. And you can only take either an action or a bonus action. You cannot do both. So it severely limits your damage dealing capabilities. Okay? So what you want to do to minimize that is basically move somebody into place, do an attack, hopefully do multiple attacks, and then move them out of the way. So that then when the next person comes in, and they do an attack, you're not brain quaking multiple people down here. Alright? But with the Emperor here, we're not actually going to do anything with the Emperor except move out of the way. That's weird. One of them entered the portal. And you can see with darkness what the Illithid Arcanists do. They don't want to enter the darkness, so they just move away and skip their turn. This is why I moved people out of the way.
Now we can destroy its true self.
Okay, so now we need to get everybody in here, and I'm going to start with Lae'zel first.
It's time to destroy the Netherbrain and end the
And you saw
practice
what happened. You saw this orb of negation. Now at the end of its turn, it's going to create this orb of negation. And what that's going to do is it's going to target 3 of these platforms where your characters are standing, and at the end of the next turn, those platforms are going to disappear. Okay, so it's going to gradually start removing the battlefield here until you are just left with the area down here, and then that's why you have a turn timer. Now you can severely mess this up by leaving people down here in place and having like these 3 removed on your first turn, and then these 3 removed in your second turn, and now you're stuck with ranged attacks because you can't get down there anymore. So you need to be careful of where your positioning is, because these orbs of negation are going to take out these platforms. But for now, what we're going to do with Lae'zel is we popped in over here, which is good for us. We're going to fly down here. And this is going to take not half of our movement, which is good. And we're going to go into our inventory. And move all of the boom that we have over here into Lae'zel's inventory. Now, dropping things out of our inventory does not take an action or a bonus action. Okay, and now I think I'm just gonna fly back out of here. Okay. And from here, I still have all of my action economy left. Going to throw an alchemist fire down here. Now this is going to cause some damage to the Netherbrain. It's not going to cause a whole lot because we don't have a whole lot of explosives here, but it is going to give us a significant bump in our damage to start this fight off with. Okay, so that took off 79 hit points in one action that we used. All right, so now let's go ahead and throw out some ranged attacks with our aberration slaying arrows here. Actually, let's not. Let's bring Kurz in next.
This is it. Its will is weakening.
Okay, so I could jump down here, but that would lose a bunch of hit points for me. So, and I don't want to lose darkness yet. This is where not having my bard really hurts. That stun, or that lethargic, because I was stunned, I wasn't able to renew the potion of speed, which left me lethargic, because I really want to be able to cast Featherfall here. So let's take Gale in.
This is our chance. Farewell to the Netherbrain.
Okay, and now with Gale's bonus action, I'm gonna take a potion of speed. And do I have a roll? I do. That's a bonus action to cast it. It's annoying. Okay, I do have a potion of Featherfall, though. I saw that. I do, and I could cast it with a scroll as well. With Curse. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be able to jump down there with Curse on this turn, because again I have to jump. He does not have fly, which puts him at a fairly serious disadvantage in this fight, but on my next turn I can jump Kurz down there. So I think I'm gonna cast Rays of Fire here. Let's, before I do that, because I'm not entirely sure how the brain quakes are gonna work. I don't think they start here. I think they come from here. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna test it out. Okay, so it did start with him. So when you're casting it, make sure your characters are spaced out. I thought it was just going to do it around characters down here, but it's not. It centers on those people, or on the character. So make sure they're spaced out enough when you have that.
Don't waste a step.
Because yeah, see, he's now mind broken, so his movement's cut in half and all that sort of stuff. So let's take Lae'zel down here. Oh yeah, she's not going to be able to from there.
One can't always be a gentleman.
Gale. I'm going to start spreading my characters out a bit. I'm going to move Gale down here. And we're going to cast the Artistry of War here. Wait. No, yeah, he doesn't have his bonus action. Okay. Okay, and then I want to leave Globe of Invulnerability up. Only a 25% chance to hit. I need to leave some open area down there to get my melee attacks in.
Victory awaits.
Okay, so this is now water down here, which is good for Lae'zel's next turn. Do I have enough movement to kind of space out some more? I do. I can move the rest of those aberration slaying arrows over to her.
There. At last. It is subdued.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute!
And thus, I honor my mother's legacy. The grand design, once again, ended by my line.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of Orpheus's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps.
Okay, so drop a quick save here. You're not going to be able to drop a full save because you're in the middle of a conversation. But here is where you have the opportunity to start your evil endings. Okay, you can betray Orpheus, you can dominate the brain and become the absolute yourself. If the Emperor is here, you're going to have another option at the start up here where you can side with the Emperor to become the Emperor's right hand and have the Emperor dominate the brain and implement the Illithid Grand Design. Either way, those two, the Grand Design comes to be. It's just who's in charge. And there's a twist to this one down here. But these are the two evil endings that are available to you. Here, because we have Orpheus, we don't have an opportunity to side with Orpheus to take over, because that's against his nature. He wouldn't want to do that. But the Emperor will give you that option. We're not going to have time today, because looking at the time we have left, we're going to have to go through the ending here and then the epilogue. So we won't have time to explore these, but if you want to see the three alternate endings, one with Gale blowing up his orb, two with the Emperor taking over, and three by us betraying Orpheus or the Emperor, either one, go look at the Paladin livestream that went up last Sunday. There are chapter markers at the end for the three other alternate endings, and you can go take a look at them and see how they are. Larian added to and improved them in patches 6 and 7, and they are really gruesome. they are a sight to behold. Now, one of those endings will get you an achievement, which I already have. Ending the game here by picking this one is going to get you an achievement. And then there are possibly other achievements that are going to proc at the end here. And one of those is going to be rescue the tieflings. You have to make it all the way through the game for that thing to proc. And I have now, so this is my first time getting there because the tieflings were dead in the paladin playthrough. So hopefully I'll get an achievement to proc here, one that I don't have yet.
My master. I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn iniquids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
The loss of a mind is a terrible thing, but this time, I think I'll make an exception. It's over. It's truly over.
The parasite. It's withered. Dead along with the Netherbrain. I am cleansed. I will never be a filthy geich. Only mild offense intended, of course. You did the unthinkable, and I'm grateful for it.
Even when my time in the prism stretched out like eternity, when escape seemed impossible, I never lost hope. I knew that my destiny was to liberate my people, to return to them triumphant. I was wrong. It seems I can only fulfill one part of my destiny. My people will be liberated, but I cannot return to them. Not like this. You helped me destroy that abomination. Now help me destroy myself. You must kill me. But first, Lae'zel, I need your promise. Carry my hope. Carry my burden. Call my dragons, Kulos and Kuthos, and ride to the Astral Sea. Destroy Vlaakith. Release our people. Be our future and our legacy.
Okay, so, hey M, welcome. I didn't want to interrupt the cutscenes there while they were going, but welcome. You'll be happy to know that I mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I used the Globe of Invulnerability, as you had mentioned in the comments on the Paladin livestream. You can go back and read it, and see the one drawback that happens with it. But yes, it's a really great suggestion, and I showcased it for everybody here during the fight atop the Netherbrain. So once the VOD goes up, you can go back and look at it. Too long didn't read version. The globe is great for avoiding damage, but mind flayers will still target you inside of it with their stun ability. So cast darkness on top of it after Orpheus or the Emperor has started the opening of the portal. That way the Illithids won't venture into the darkness and cast the stun on you. But so here, because of the choices that we've made here throughout our playthrough, they all come to a culmination at this point. And you have some options on how you want to play these things out. Now, if one of us had chosen to become one of the Mind Flayers instead of Orpheus, this would again play out in a different way, with Orpheus and Lae'zel both going back to the astral plane to liberate his people. But now it's going to go a slightly different way. So we can either tell Lae'zel to do it, we can let Lae'zel make the choice, and in that case she's going to go do it, or we can persuade her to stay here. We're not going to do that. We're going to let her go fulfill her destiny here.
It will be done. I will never be free while my people are still bound by Vlaakith's chains.
Enough talk. Give me my freedom. Freedom from this form.
Okay, and here you have another choice. Where you can decide what to do with the Emperor now, with Orpheus. And Orpheus wants to die, and the reason for it is because the lifelong, generational, historical enmity between the Mind Flayers and the Githyanki. If you weren't aware of the lore, the Githyanki were Mind Flayer slaves for millennia. They were bred specifically for captivity to take care of all of the chores, as well as being soldiers and fighters and that sort of stuff in the Mind Flayer society. Gith, the Orpheus's mother, organized a rebellion and rose up against the Mind Flayers and secured freedom for her people. And as part of that, she again then was betrayed by Vlaakith, and Vlaakith took over the lordship of the Githyanki people. But Orpheus knows that there's too much bad blood between the two societies, and that he cannot go back and lead his people as a Mind Flayer. That he will not be accepted by the vast majority of Githyanki society. So he wants you to kill him, and we're going to give him that death that he wants.
Githka Tavkim crashed.
Kulos! I can never forget you. Your name will be etched in our slates. You will be called Mlagir, Liberator. To the skies!
Look, the Githyanki take flight.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
Gale, is something the matter?
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. And once I have, I'll return it to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction, and I'll finally be free.
So, as I said, these two quest lines wait until the very end of the game to complete. And now you have another choice on what to do to finish out Gale's quest line. Now, in the Paladin playthrough, because of choices we had made, he wanted to reforge the crown and become a god himself. In this one, we're not going to. The choices we've made have wanted him to give the crown back to her, so that's what we're going to do.
And a more deserving one this time around. If this adventure has taught me anything, it's that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. Besides, I've grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, and I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
Who wins the bet? Wizards are not entirely boring. Well, my friend, what do you say?
There is much to do. But a drink might be nice. A seat would be better.
I honestly don't mind what we do once we get to the... Ow! What the... Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, it was nice when it lasted. Ah! I'm sorry. I have to go.
Be well, Astarion. Hide while you must. But do not think your city is done with you just yet.
He's not ascended Astarion in this playthrough.
We did it, soldier. The city's going to be all right. And so are you. Engine's finally cooked. Held on just long enough. So, how'd I do? So are you. My friend. My companion. I adore you. Careful! Hot! I never gave up. I did my best. I did my best. It's the one thing I can't beat, isn't it? I wanted to live in my city with my friends. But life is for the living. And I saw... Goodbye, son. Goodbye, sea. Goodbye.
No, stop. I won't allow this. Karlach, you're coming with me. Back to Avernus. We can't let her die. Not like this. Not now.
You can't.
Okay, and now we see another culmination to a questline that's already finished, but one that is incomplete because we need to find the resolution to Karlach's problem with her mechanical heart. Okay, there is enough here that you can go with her and Wyll if you would like. You can go with Karlach. You can let Karlach go. Or you can say that Wyll is going to go with you. Or you can leave it to Karlach to decide. Karlach is going to choose to go on her own, not to take Wyll back to Avernus with her. I think that it's probably better off from a story perspective if Wyll and Karlach fight hand in hand. They started out as bitter enemies because of how Mazora locked Wyll into his contract. Having them go back to Avernus to fight side by side against the same devils who imprisoned them both, basically, is a fitting way to save both of them.
So, what do you say? Die here now, or live on with the blade of Avernus at your side. Zariel won't touch you. I swear it, Karlach.
Fine. I'll go. Well, with you. But we have to go. Now. I can't hang on much longer.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
Well, soldier, here we are. It worked. My engines calmed down.
Hope this cutscene isn't broke.
You come here. This isn't going to be easy, you know. Zariel's going to come at us with everything she's got. Gods, like clockwork. They'll be on us soon, but there's just enough time. Thought I was done with these. But then, there was you. Imps are fast, but careless. Don't let them tire you out. Just get rid of them. Don't forget. You asked for this. Better let these fuckers know I'm back. And this time, I'm not alone.
Yeah, I think there seems to be a problem with that cutscene. It wasn't ending each segment on its own. I had to click to end it.
6 months have passed since you defeated the Netherbrain. And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. But sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one.
Yeah, I think the cutscenes seem to be a little broken here. There was supposed to be a cutscene with my love interest there.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Okay, and now we're presented with the epilogue. This was added in patch 6 and adds more closure to the game. Okay. Now, we have Speak with Animals as a spell. However, and you will see that your inventory is... No, well here, I have a pouch. So, in my Paladin playthrough, I didn't. But your inventory gets completely cleared out. It looks like there are some items that it keeps, but everything else in your inventory disappears. So I didn't have this pouch in my Paladin playthrough, which is weird. So, but if you do have a Potion of Animal Speaking in a pouch, maybe it will keep that pouch up here. It didn't on my Paladin playthrough. But you can try it out and put one in a pouch and see if it keeps it if you don't have the Speak with Animals spell. However, just in case you are a martial character or something like that and you don't have the spell, I didn't know this until I researched it during the Paladin playthrough, because I searched this entire area and could not find a Potion of Animal Speaking, and I was really upset with Larian for not including one. However, this bottle rack, and bottle racks never have anything in them in the game, this bottle rack is where you find your Potion of Animal Speaking. So if you do not have access to the spell, and it removed all of the things from your inventory, and you no longer have any potions or anything, this is where you can find one to be able to speak with Scratch and the Owlbear. And speaking of those two, that's who we're going to go talk to first.
So you made it! Now it really is a party.
Now, one thing about all the characters here is that they have now titles underneath their names. So Scratch is the best boy in the realms.
There you are. Keeping us all on tenterhooks so you can make a
Familiar
dramatic...
sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw. Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Owlbear. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you.
And he drops the inert astral prism. Now, once you pick this up, just like a bone or Scratch's ball, you can throw it. And as soon as you do, Scratch is going to come running. And he'll pick it up. And bring it back to you, just like the good boy he is. And you can throw it over and over and over again. Just like you can with Scratch's ball during the game. So, yeah. So next, the feathered hero of Baldur's Gate.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big brother Scratch, too! Happy. Yes. Miss this. More. Yes. Big. But Scratch is smart. Teaches me many things. Like Big Brother. Withers? No. You smell very delicious. Follow smell, find you. Lots. Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I bite, kill. With shiny clothes, I am strong. Tired now. Want sleep. Want cave.
And that conversation is different if the tieflings didn't survive. If the tieflings didn't survive, he does not become an armored owlbear. He grows up, but he's not armored. So he says that he ran away from the Kraken in the Paladin playthrough. It's these little things that Larian adjusts based upon the choices you've made that are amazing this far down the road. Okay, so you have some options here on what you want to do with the owlbear. So Shadowheart has a very special ending here because we've saved her parents and she's now a Saloonite again. She has a use for the owlbear. We sent him with Halsin in the Paladin playthrough, so we're going to pick the Shadowheart option here.
Nice lady. She gives pets and tasty things. I like her. I go to her.
And now, because we basically made Shadowheart adopt an owlbear, we're going to go talk to Shadowheart. Retired adventurer.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it? I suppose I do, don't I? I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt, but I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Oh, hell's what? Not another adventure, is it? I'm quite content with my semi-retirement. The owlbear? Of course I'll have him. If he wants to come with me, that is. I'd have offered sooner, but everything was a blur after the battle. I thought he'd gone to roam free. I'll have to find somewhere for him to sleep, of course. He'd get stuck in the door of my cottage. Maybe the barn. It's as warm as anywhere, as long as he gets along with the other animals. Well, now I'm going to have to do that, aren't I? You're a bad influence, you know. I can picture the look on my parents' faces already. I found a little cottage. Abandoned, half ruined. There's a lot of such places to be found, thanks to the Absolute's armies. I've been making it my own. Healing. Learning to live again. It's hard to think of all that was robbed from them, but they're intent on making every day count for double. My mother's mind still drifts every now and again, but she has more good days than not so good days. She taught me her recipe for apple and plum pie, and when I tasted it, I actually remembered it from when I was a little girl. Some things can't be taken from you, it seems. Father's making himself useful, helping me fix up the cottage and caring for the animals. You should see the amount I have now. He's been waiting years for this. Now he can't stop smiling. Sorry, I'm rambling. Family life and pastry recipes probably aren't the most interesting topics for such a historic reunion. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just be sure to take your own advice whenever you can. You've earned it. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. As am I. It's well deserved. And I dare anyone to argue otherwise. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Oh, before you go, how does a red dragon plan their day? They don't. They just wing it. Sorry. My father's got years of terrible jokes stocked up that he never got to tell me when I was younger, but lucky for him, I've never heard them. And seemingly, I am easily amused. As if you'd have me any other way. Go on, you've got mingling to do. I'll work on my punchlines some more.
And we're going to go along tonight so we can explore some of these, because some of them are quite different than the Paladin playthrough. So, all of our companions are here, with some additional ones, and I'm not going to go through Wyll again. We talked about him on the Paladin playthrough, so you can go, and there's a chapter marker for it, so you can go look at it. Wyll is actually a god in the Forgotten Realms. He is the god of music, and Withers brought him in here, and no one seems to remember him. So you can pass a check, either a history check or a deception check, and lie to him and tell him that you remember him, and he'll be really happy about it. But what Wyll does is allow you to change the music that's playing in the background, and there are different songs that you can have him play to kind of change things up a little bit. So some of these companion characters we've seen a little bit, and some that we haven't. So Jaheira and Minsc, I'm not going to go through, and Halsin, I'm not going to go through the full conversation options with them, because their conversations haven't changed. And you can go to the Paladin playthrough and look at them. Again, there are chapter markers for their conversations.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Ah, how nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? The upper city has been almost entirely rebuilt. That's where the gold is. Even the builder scaffolds are cleared from the streets. No dust left to sneeze at. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. The songs of my suffering will break hearts from here to the Hordlands, I am sure. Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
A reference to when she put a truth serum in the wine when we first met her.
Boo! We are not dreaming! It is our old friend! What is reuniting with old comrades, if not the stuff of dreams? But Minsc is full-clothed, so this must be no vision. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. What else but the stuff of songs, my friend? The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? She told Minsc and Boo to behave themselves, which is why we shall be back in our cell by dawn. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky? Embrace me, my friend! And should you feel a squirming, know that it is only Boo. Or perhaps the buffet has gone bad. Ha! You are quite coated in hamster hair. Now, wherever you go, Boo goes too. No, no, my friend. It is not yet time for tears and passing Boo around for the wiping of eyes. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. This pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
And speaking of being presentable, one thing I didn't mention is that there's a clothing chest over here. You can change your outfit to be whatever you want it to be. Every dye in the game and every piece of clothing in the game is in this chest. So you can pick out anything that you want, dye your outfit, and change it for any of these conversations. So Halsin is the alderman of the reclaimed lands.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Perhaps that is so for you, but for me... It may be that a peaceful life after so many years of tumult has made me sentimental. I dwell upon what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. Apologies. You can probably understand my eagerness. I shall be as gentle as a feather next time. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. Ah, as you wish. Enjoy yourself.
And again, just because those conversations are all the same, as well as Volo here.
Reunited with friends amidst nature.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Busy as ever. Better that than the reverse, wouldn't you say? Every major publishing house on the Sword Coast has been vying for my upcoming book on the subject of our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Oh, that would be telling, wouldn't it? But believe you me, my friend, not a word could have been written without you. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Okay, so we'll talk to Gale, Professor Dekarios.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Dekarios of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific. I surrendered the crown of Karsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. Ah, so you still remember our little lesson. It was at that moment, the weave connecting us, that I realized how much your friendship had come to mean to me. As it still does. You were, of course, indulging me in submitting to such a lesson. Teaching you was hardly an effort at all. Not like my present cohort of apprentices. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake. And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned? From you, I'd expect nothing less. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'd be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. Well, I, for one, can't wait. And I say with some confidence, neither can they. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
Okay, and there should also be Tara. Gale's Tressum friend.
Oh, right. You. Hello. Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dekarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? Well done. Despite my old friend's genius, he'd have blown himself up long ago if not for the help of friends like you and I. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able, if you can extract yourself from what I'm sure are very important responsibilities. We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta, darling. Oh,
And that
I've seen every
conversation is
corner of the
entirely
world.
different
I just
than the
know
Paladin
what I like.
playthrough, and so that's why I wanted to illustrate it. Next, let's talk to Astarion.
And above all, your love.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders. And fate let you get away with that. Not one improbable adventure landed on your doorstep. I'm impressed. But I'm glad to see the world has treated you well. You've earned it.
We both have, in fact. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. Part of me was relieved you left so quickly after the battle. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything. Just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. I did at first. But then I realized. These shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am. In all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
Astarion's one of my favorite characters. So let's see, where's Lae'zel?
Good song, good company, and good wine.
Okay, Lae'zel is hiding.
God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
She is really hiding.
I can eat a beholder.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage.
Oh, pardon me.
Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for spirits when he could source food?
There she is.
I remember one evening when we had to
Faerun's own, and it's an astral projection.
For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strange word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. It's nice to hear it. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This Fey run. Shractalor.
That's pretty good.
I wouldn't expect you to. The capital city of the Githzerai, an exiled people, once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into two. Algish sent word of the rebellion to their god king Zareth Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance.
This is so different than the Paladin playthrough. I'm getting a kick out of seeing all the lore they've thrown in here.
My blade is keen as ever, but it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust, I miss this place. More to the point, I miss you. I wouldn't even deny it with Vlaakith's vorpal blade at my neck. Though, I'd rather it not come to that. Now go, mingle a bit. That's the word, right? Mingle. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away.
This option is because we had the egg in Lae'zel's inventory when we finished it up.
So it has. And a fine man the hatchling will be. I call him Zaan. Freedom. He is with the mages of Zamvardim. I trust his care to no one else. Zaan's destiny will be his own to follow. Warrior, poet, explorer, scholar. His way will be the way of the comet. No chains to bind us, no lies to bury us. Liberty will be the rallying cry that unites our empire.
Okay, so next and second to last is Wyll. Well, I shouldn't say second to last. There's 3 more people. Wyll being the first one we'll talk to.
There you are, my friend. Breathe deep. Can you smell it?
Might as well try and make this check.
You take in every scent the night breeze carries. Sweet honeysuckle, tender violets, and an earthy fragrance you can't quite recognize.
Forest trees draped in moss. Bittersweet, smoky, and that faintest hint of vanilla. A far cry from the rancid Avernus heat that's been clogging my lungs. I swear, Karlach and I have felled enough Cambions to build a fortress with their horns. Who'd have thought that just one of those fiends held the key to escaping Avernus for good? One of them sported a map and some blueprints. If you want all the gory details, Karlach can fill you in. She's kept me on a long leash, if you can believe it. Every target she's set me on's been a demonic intruder. Tenari assassins who slip into Avernus. Armor knights that amass near the sticks. My next target's the most challenging yet, or so she says. I don't know much more. Only that it's no demon, but a devil. I'm not worried. Not when Karlach's got my back. I swear she could scare the eyes off a beholder. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. Well, that's enough hell talk for the moment. The night's young. You shouldn't go wasting it. Or wasting any of the wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oh, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
And last amongst our companions is Karlach.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God! He wasn't kidding. Withers, you mad bastard! You brought me back! Soldier. It's really you. I've missed you, man. Like, I've really missed you. And you're so clean. No. Believe me, you shouldn't have. That place is fucking horrible. I wouldn't wish it on you. On anyone. But look, you showed me just how much my life is worth. That there are people out there who really value it. I can hang on in the hells a while longer. Oh, guess what we found? Cambion dropped a map with directions and blueprints for Zariel's own private forge. A fucking forge! Our current plan is to get in, grab a smith, and force him to fix old Rusty. Or maybe give me a brand new model that can live outside of Avernus. You haven't seen the last of old Karlach yet, soldier. You don't need to ask, soldier. I won't be in Avernus forever, you know. Can I look you up when I'm out? Hey, that would be kind of fun, though. High stakes hide and seek. Honestly, I'd be curious to see if you could land a blow or two. Gods, is it good to see you again. To be here together. Hard not to get used to it all over again. This won't be the last time. I promise.
Okay, and for the last person to finish things off, there's a quest marker. And that is for Withers.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready, for thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.
And there, if you heard the beep, after all of that time, 61 episodes of this live stream, I finally got the achievement to save the tieflings, the No One Left Behind achievement. It doesn't proc until the very end of the epilogue. So you have to wait all of that time to see if you actually got it. As I mentioned earlier, for the alternate endings and the alternate conversations for a much different playthrough, you can go look up the chapter markers in the Paladin playthrough, and you will see much different endings to the game. I would also encourage you, at least the first time you finish the playthrough, to fully watch the credits. I always, through every game that I finish, kind of give my respect to the developers and all of the amazing people who put together a game that I have played and finished. In the course of this, I have nearly 1,600 hours worth of playtime. And last week for the Paladin and this one are my first times finishing a playthrough for this game. It has been an amazing companion for me for well over a year now, through early access when I started, and then to this time. And I give my respect to the developers by watching it. Now, I'm not going to make everybody sit here and watch it this time while I finish up, but I will let it play in the background. As the game has been a big companion to me for the past year and a half of playing it, so also have all of you. My time here throughout these two playthroughs have seen some incredible growth in the channel, and it was something I never expected the first time that I clicked go live on YouTube. I just wanted to play the game, and I figured if I can help other people understand it a little better, then that would be the goal. I still am not interested in asking anyone for a like or a subscription. That's not what this channel is for. It's for my enjoyment of playing the games and helping other people, and also hopefully for your enjoyment to learn a little bit more about the games by watching me play them. But at the end of the day, my enjoyment comes not just from the game. It comes from all of you. And for those of you who have been here since the beginning, I can't do anything except tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here through the beginning. But for those of you who have only showed up for one episode, or just to drop a comment somewhere, again, I say thank you. Because your support means the world to me. And as always, as I close out every episode, I say without your support, none of this would be possible. And that means more today at the end of these playthroughs and these series than at any other time. So until next time, this is Commander Jorval saying, fare thee well.